Hey there everybody, it's Mark Curley back with another How to Draw video. Sorry it's been so long since I did one of these. As many of you know, I'm really busy with my dark horse work, but let's just get into it. I'm going to be showing you how to draw straight hair versus curly hair, and I'm going to zoom in on this one first, and let's just get going. Alright, well, as you might imagine, drawing straight hair is the easier of the two. Let's start with a sort of vertical line here at the side of the head. This is going to be a line that comes just above the skull that we've sketched in here. And here's maybe the trickiest part of doing straight hair, is getting a bunch of these lines at the very top that indicate how the hair is coming out of the top of the head and kind of draping down. I don't think there's any hard and fast rule. Everyone finds their own way. I've drawn up, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them here. Then coming off the other side of the head, always leaving a little bit of space between the skull that you've sketched out. I'm going to have a line that's coming just a little more diagonally across here and curving. You know, when you're doing straight hair, the way I draw it anyway, I'm looking for a series of very gentle curves. Not absolutely straight like a ruler straight, largely straight with just a little bit of curvature at the end. But again, and it's maybe been a while since I said this in one of my videos, you know, nothing in my videos is meant to be like, hey, this is the way to do it. No. Find your own way. These are just some tips, you know, based on my preferences. Now that I've got these lines in here at the bottom, and notice how they kind of fan out a little bit, I can go in and do the bangs, which are going to be, in my drawing, kind of curving off a little bit to the right, my right. And they also sort of fan just a little bit from that first line over towards these lines here. And believe it or not, I'm almost done at this point. I mean, one side of her hair is kind of tucked behind her head, so I don't have to really draw too much detail there. But a lot of people will be a little curious about how to indicate a highlight. Lots of different ways of doing this. I'm going to keep it simple for this one and do a sort of slightly curving band of white up here. And to save time on this video, I'm going to do the next part in time-lapse, but watch how this works and how I leave this space up here blank. Alright, so you can see how I did that, and note that I put quite a bit of darkness in here just behind the bands of hair that I drew. That helps give it a little bit of depth. And I'm just sort of defining some of the bangs a little bit here. Sometimes that happens. When you add shading, you have to go back in and redefine things a little bit to make sure those lines still pop. All right, well, we've done the easy one. Let's move on to the tough one now, the curly hair. All right, now bear in mind this is going to be very stylized hair. This is just from my observations of manga drawing. I don't see people getting into highly realistic depictions of curly hair. They've come up with this interesting way of rendering curly hair that doesn't, you know, it doesn't look possible maybe with real human hair, but it looks cool as manga. I'm going ahead and drawing in just a couple of ribbons here because that's what's going to be holding up the curls of her hair. And notice anyway the way that I've drawn this character. When someone has curly hair, that doesn't necessarily mean that every single hair on their head is curly. This character, the hair at the top of the head, is relatively straight. In fact, I'll do the bangs right now, and then that hair is not rendered in a curly way. And all right, let's go ahead and get into this band of hair that's going to be coming down here. And what you've got here is a kind of series of shapes, a little difficult to describe. To me, they sort of look a little bit like the letter C on its side. I don't know if that's a very good description, but see if you can figure out what I'm doing here. Drawing a whole series of them. They're not one underneath the other. They sort of move back and forth, staggered a little bit. And some of them are looping down. One or two of them are bending upwards. And this creates this effect of a sort of spiral of hair that is, a single long strand of hair that just keeps looping around itself. And as you get down to the end, you can make it smaller and smaller. And this is kind of the key here, is to get these little black bits back here that show that these are interconnected. Get enough of these in, and you will complete the effect of a sort of curling band of hair. And adding a little bit of shading later on will also help this effect. But since the other line of curled hair is almost the same kind of technique, I'm going to go ahead and do that in time-lapse. Okay, so that kind of completes the effect. You can keep working on here and adding lines. As always, with manga, I think especially you got to be careful not to overdo it. Let the drawing breathe by not drawing line after line after line until it's just smothered with lines. I'm going to finally add the shading here, and again, just to save time, keep this video short, I'm going to do that in time-lapse, but maybe I can come back to explain a little bit about my choices. All right, well, there you have it. Notice how I added a little bit of extra shading on the right-hand side of each one of these bands of hair. That gives it sort of a 3D effect if you leave the other side white. It doesn't have to be the right-hand side. It could be the left-hand. Just choose one side and stick with that, and you'll get this sort of 3D effect. Well, I hope you found this video useful. People have been asking for, especially for the curly hair, for quite a long time, and I sincerely hope that this was the video you were looking for. As always, I want to thank each and every person who has bought my Miki Falls manga series. I greatly, greatly appreciate your support, and that's what allows me to keep doing these videos. But otherwise, let's wind it down for now. Thanks for watching this video. And this time I truly will try to be back with another one real soon.